Hi, welcome to another episode of Webcam Sessions. Last week we worked on what I think is one of the best strum patterns there is. And if you haven't checked out that video, it's right down here below. And this week we're going to work on another strum pattern, but what's interesting is last week was the best and one of the most interesting kind of. This week is the most boring strum pattern, but let me explain. When we're learning how to strum an ukulele, oftentimes we learn how to go down and up and repeat that. That's for a lot of people like the first or second pattern they learn. Essentially just, going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, just over and over and over like that, right? And then people introduce the concept of missing the strings oftentimes to create some rhythmic variety, like down, down, up, down, up is not strumming every single time. But today we're going to strum every single time, but we're going to introduce a new technique called accents to make these sound different from one another and to give some pattern variety within essentially just going straight down and up every time. So to start here, we want to just be able to play down and up, make sure that's comfortable. So let's play a G chord for this. Index finger here on the second fret of the C, ring finger here on the third fret of the E, and middle here on the second fret of the A. And I'm going to count us in. And how I'm going to count us is I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we'll start playing. And as I'm counting that, that's essentially our hand going down for 1, and then our hand coming back up for and repeat for each one. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and only striking the strings. So here we go, count us in, then let's go and try this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? Really basic and quite frankly really boring, right? Doesn't really sound like any song. And the reason is because it's just the same thing happening each time. There's no real variety within it. So now what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to accent one of the strums. And all that an accent really is strumming it a little bit harder. But what I like to think about too is not just strumming one of them harder, but doing all the ones that aren't accented just a little bit softer. That can oftentimes help make it more pronounced so that we can really hear that accented strum. We're going to try by accenting the first strum, just beat 1, and then the and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to do a little bit softer. So let's go ahead and try this again with the G chord. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It starts to sound a little bit more like a pattern, but it's still, not the most interesting thing. And that's because we're only accenting the very beginning. The rest of it, kind of boring. So now we're going to introduce yet another accent, and we're going to do this on beat 3. And the reason we're doing it on beat 3 is it kind of subdivides the pattern perfectly. By being on beat 1, the next time that we do it on beat 3 is exactly halfway. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's go ahead and try this. You'll notice it's a lot like if we're clapping our hands on 1 and 3. We're going to talk more about that in a second too. So, sounds something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? So now it's starting to sound a little bit more musical, but it's still pretty slow. So let's go ahead and try doing it a little bit faster. So if I play it more full speed, it might sound something like this. Now you can hear it drives forward a little bit more. Let's go ahead and practice going from the G chord to a C chord, just kicking our ring finger out here to the third fret of the A string. Or, if that's tricky, you can actually take your middle finger and just pivot it up 1 to 3 on the A. So, let's go ahead and try this. Just naturally speeding up so you can really hear it. Pretty cool sound, right? So that's gradually increasing the speed, and you can hear that 1, 3, 1, 3 type of vibe, right? Well, that's great and all, but it's very common to have those accents on 1 and 3, and in my opinion, doesn't sound nearly as good as doing the inverse. And this is where I really think this can start to take some shape. If you start instead of accenting on 1 and 3, but rather accent on 2 and 4, you can create this really nice, what we call backbeat feel that I think is an actually just plain awesome strum pattern that's just down and ups. So let's go ahead and try this together nice and slow. Again, we're going to accent on beat 2 and beat 4. So I'm going to go ahead and count us in. We'll just stick to the G chord again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? Now I'm going to do it. I'm going to start speeding up as I go until I'm at full speed, and you can really hear how this backbeat sound is really quite cool. Right? Now if I do it with some chords, like going from G to C, I can create this sound that's more like fun sound to start to play around with. So that's just accenting on beat 1 and 3, or then accenting on beat 2 and 4, and it can drastically alter the way that the strum pattern changes. So it's the same motions each time, down and up, right? But by accenting in different points, you can change the identity of the rhythm. You can also do accents on the up strums too. And to do this, what I like to do is actually use my nail to come up to create a louder sound. So a normal up strum, we use kind of the flesh of our finger, but if I pinch my fingers together and use more of the thumb, I can get more of an accent coming up, right? So one of my favorite patterns to work on this is do an accent on 1, and then do an accent on the and of 2, and then on 4. So it's 1 and 4, 1 and 4, 1 and 4, 1 and 4. Pretty cool, right? Really fun to start playing around with in different ways. And once you get comfortable with it and kind of the concept behind it, you can start to play with the accents however you see fit. So you can try to just throw in random accents to create different vibes within your rhythm. So if I just start strumming a G chord for a little bit and start playing around with this, you can hear how I'm going to be doing down and up the whole time, but by accenting certain ones, I can create different rhythms. Pretty cool, right? Again, that's not even missing the strings at all. As soon as you start missing the strings in there too, you can really start to get a lot of different sounds within your strumming. Just this little accent though can get you a long ways. For more information on accenting, check out the course I did with Ukulele Underground. In the not so basic version, we actually cover accenting and have a bunch of different patterns, examples that use the accent strum, as well as ones that involve chunking and ghost notes and other things like that. So please, if you haven't already, check out that course for more information. Otherwise, I'll see you next week for another episode of Webcam Sessions. Be sure to leave any questions you might have in the comments below, and have a great week.